be able to talk about, being that I'm prior military. And so with this subject, it was real easy. But at the same time, it was kind of hard because nowadays we have to realize that there is an order of war that we're in. And the reason why we're losing this battle that we're in right now is because we don't respect order. Right. In the military, give you a brief rundown of the physical side so you can understand the spiritual side. In the military, there's the commander-in-chief, which is the president of the United States. He's the chief officer of the military. Then there's generals, colonels, captains, lieutenants, sergeants, and privates. Everybody has a rank, everybody has a job, but in order for everything to flow, it must come down from the head first. And spiritually, a lot of us get mixed up because we don't respect the orders that come down from the head first. Say, well, who is the head? God is the head. And a lot of time, even leaders are misled and in misleading other people because they're not hearing from God first. A lot of them are leading out of their feelings, out of emotions, and even in a battle, even in a live battle, in a physical battle, you'll lose that battle if you go into that battle emotional. A lot of times we go into the fight emotional and we can't win a fight emotional. When Jesus died on the cross and he gave up the ghost, it was after he let go of the emotional feeling that he was going through. You know, when he was asking, why must I go through this? Why I gotta be persecuted? Why I gotta be stuck in the side? Why me? But when he let the emotional side go, that's when he gave up the ghost and went ahead and did what he had to do. That's what we gotta do in the order of war. This order of war that we're in right now, we're fighting a fight, but it has to be in order. In order to win, we've got to recognize the order. And everybody has to recognize their position. A private can't lead the battle because that's not his job. His job is not to be in a sergeant position. The sergeant job is not to be in the captain's position. The captain position is not to be in the general. Everybody has to know their order. And the thing about it is, what people don't understand is, just because you're a title, just because you have a certain title, it don't mean you're not important. In the order of war, everybody got to do their assignment. If the private don't do what he's supposed to do, it can go all the way up to making a general look bad. Like, how do a private make a general look bad? Because as the assignments are laid down, if the private don't do his job, then the sergeant don't do his job, then the captain don't do his job, then the general looks bad. And that's what we got to realize as Christians nowadays. Whatever your assignment is, if the prophet don't do their job, if the evangelist don't do their job, if the teacher don't do their job, then we're letting down in the ranks. We're letting it down in the spiritual world. We're letting it down. We're dropping our assignment. And when we drop our assignment, then the order of war is in chaos. Say, what is war? War is a conflict where two sides don't get along. And right now, we're in a war. We're battling evil versus good. The enemy telling you what to do versus you know what's spiritually right. And a lot of times what we're doing, we're putting into an out of order machine. If you've seen a Coke machine that said out of order, would you put your money in it? No. Why? Because you know if you put your money in it, you're not going to get nothing out. That's the same way it works in the spiritual world. We're out of order. And a lot of us are out of order because we're sowing into a ground that is out of order. And when we're sowing into a ground that's out of order, we can't get nothing back. And so when we can't get nothing back, we have nothing to fight with. And a lot of us, the shofar is being blown, and we're marching around the walls of Jericho, and we're wondering why they're not falling down. It's because we have no power. And in the order of warfare, you've got to have power. Without no power, there is no winning the war. We're fighting an empty battle. And I was talking with my father in the ministry. I said, how do you explain it? How do you tell them? How do I get this order of war? How do I get them to understand it? And he said, we got to realize, we got to get to the point nowadays that if we don't stand for something, then we move around. If you don't like the leadership you're under, move around. If you don't like the order that you're under, move around, because you're contaminating that church, you're contaminating that ministry, you're contaminating that order. We can't fight something. We can't help a fight if we're not willing to be a part of it. And if you're not willing to be a part of the fight, then you need to move around to a fight that you're willing to be a part of.
Yes, sir.
A lot of us is under leadership that we don't believe in. That's not order. I can't fight a fight. I can't help my leader fight a fight if I don't believe in the leadership that I'm under.
Yes, sir.
And that's how